Don't go chasing waterfalls. We're not chasing waterfalls, we're chasing ball carriers today. That's right, finally talking some defense around here on Portraits. We're in Charlotte, and we're gonna talk with Carolina Panther, Georgia Bulldog great Thomas Davis. You ready for TD? You better buckle up and hit someone. Let's go, come on.
Ouch, that was a good hit.
I went from being the last guy they gave a scholarship to that year to being the first guy drafted.
Thomas Davis is the biggest hitter in the Southeastern Conference.
Let me take you guys in the other shoe room.
There's another shoe room.
If you were a sneakerhead, you know how rare these things are.
Well, what do you know? 10:58. That's right, 10 when he was a Bulldog.
Boy, number 10. You talk about closing speed.
58 when he was a Panther. This must be the place. Come on. Wow, got the whole crew here. We are a stone's throw from Bank of America Stadium. Oh, look. Between the hedges. Look at those little hedges. Those are neat.
Here in between the hedges, absolutely gorgeous day for football.
Oh, look at all the whistles. Wow, what a neat idea. Wonder if they're game used. Let's try some. Spearmint. Wow. Right there, number 58. Coming right at you. Oh, coming right at us. So there he is. Look. Wow. A little bit nicer than my scooter, huh? Hey, Thomas Davis, right on time. It's 10:58. Good to see you, man.
Good seeing you. Let me guess. Your favorite part has to be the Georgia room we have in the back, right?
Yeah.
James Bates open, take 44.
Hey, I'm the one they call James Bates, but my real name is Bates. I was a co-captain and all-SEC linebacker on the Florida Gator National Championship football team.
Number 44, James Bates.
These days, I'm a family guy, a broadcaster,
With James Bates.
and an artist. You know, like portraits and stuff. Kind of like the title of this show, Portraits, where we feature some of the more colorful characters in all the world of sports. Enjoy.
After I retired from the game, me and my wife just felt like it was the perfect opportunity to try to dabble into the restaurant/bar industry.
Is it challenging?
Oh, it's very challenging, and I knew it would be. I'm one of those people that has always been very hands-on with anything that has my name attached to it. If you have workers that absolutely enjoy and want to be a part of what you're doing, they're going to give their all for you, just like when you're playing sports. If you have a coach that you absolutely enjoy working for and playing for, you're going to give everything that you have for that coach.
Who's that one coach that comes to mind that you really loved playing for, you didn't want to let him down?
Man, Ron Rivera is the first person that comes to mind, but if I go back to my college days, without a doubt, it was Coach Rick. You know, Coach Rick was the guy that gave me an opportunity when nobody else did. That's kind of how my story began.
Well, your story is all over the walls here
Absolutely.
at 1058.
Absolutely.
The artist is lucky, I guess, saving a lot of paint, that you're a unicorn. You played for basically one team the whole time, retired with that team.
With this being right here in Carolina, I wanted to make sure that these fans understood how much I appreciated being a part of this organization. And, you know, with Georgia being who we are right now, the way that we're dominating the college football scene, and you know as a Florida Gator how much we're dominating the scene right now. Being able to provide a space where, you know, the Georgia fans can come right here in Carolina and enjoy watching football games.
All jokes aside with the paint colors and everything, 14 years with one team, I mean, that's special. And also to display some of these things, otherwise it might just sit at home in your office.
I know what the fan base is like here. I know how much they love and appreciate their players, so I wanted to share some of the things that I love and appreciate with them.
Wow, very cool. And I was telling the guys earlier, you got the big painting there of yourself by the bathroom.
Yep.
Because you're the huh? Right? It's kind of fun starting with, truly with a blank canvas. To just kind of hit it and step up there and like, here we go. You know, there are a lot of great artists out there that can take a painting and make it look really, really close to a perfect picture, you know, with the detail and everything. But I kind of like just kind of making it my own fun, folky style, if you will. And I'll peek back at the original picture every now and then, but I try not to lean on it too much. Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Portraits. I'm James Bates. That's Hank. You know Hank. And, well, we're at home. There's no place like home. This is where my dream of painting really began, up here in the Batesy Paint studio. Speaking of dreams, for Thomas Davis, well, his dreams didn't quite start out the way you'd think. You see, Thomas was born and raised in the town of Shellman, Georgia, population of less than 1,000 people. It was those same people who would influence and shape the man he has become today.
Shellman, Georgia is home, man. It allowed me to understand that you have to work for everything that you want to accomplish in this world. Nothing is gonna be handed to you. If you want it, you gotta get out and you have to work for it. And that's what I got to see day in and day out. I got to see working class people that struggled and they worked hard and they didn't complain. And that's what it was about for me. Every single thing that I wanted to accomplish, I had to work for. And there were gonna be some adversity that was gonna come my way. And when it did, I couldn't give up, I couldn't quit. I had to keep going, I had to keep pounding, I had to keep doing the things that I needed to do in order to become successful. And you know, that's something that resonated with me at a very young age, and I just took it with me as I became an adult, and here I am.
And along the way, growing up, you played just about every sport that you could. Just what are some of your early sports memories and being out there and competing? Because obviously you love to compete, and you had to have had that in your blood when you were very young.
It was. And some of the earliest sports memories that I have is the fact that I didn't even want to play football. I thought I was going to be a track star. I wanted to be a track star, and I just felt like that was going to be my opportunity. And I did really well in track in high school, and then my friends started playing football, so it's like, man, do I sit around and not do this while they're out there doing it? So I went out, played football, and got good at it, and fell in love with the game of football. But I always knew that there was never gonna be a time that I did not have something to do after school was over.
Was it just that you were so good at track? Why do you think not football? Why do you think you kind of fought football off a little bit?
You know, I just never really, I loved the game of football, but I just always felt like because I was fast, that track was gonna be my thing. I never really associated or translated fast being a football thing too.
And your talents in high school football, I read it all and I'm like, okay, Thomas he played every single position on the field. Surely he played linebacker. But then I watched an interview with you, and you never played linebacker until you got to Georgia, did you?
Never.
Davis now looking to run.
There goes Thomas. There goes
He goes.
Thomas.
He goes. He goes.
Davis
is going to score on the last play of the game.
Thomas Davis, we figured he would be a really good high school ball player. He just, you know, had grit as far as determination. You were not going to beat him. He was going to make things happen. Played multiple positions. He played punter, kickoff, kick returners, secondary defensive end, tight end.
Down the pass, and the pass is complete for the touchdown.
Quarterback, running back.
Thomas Davis, there you go, he's in now for the touchdown.
Could have played offensive line, but you couldn't get the ball to him on the offensive line. So obviously just outstanding athlete.
There goes Thomas, there you go, touchdown, run out play.
Did you like contact as a young kid? Well, obviously, you don't mind contact with your career.
That was one thing that I have never shied away from. I've always been a tough kid. You know, when we were little, we would go out and we would play tackle football in the yard and fields with older kids. And they would beat us up a little bit, but You know, that was one of the things that made us tough, though, as young kids, and you don't get to see that nowadays, but that's what we used to do. We used to go out and play with the older kids, and that's how we were able to get tough.
And those were your specialty camps that all these kids go to now.
Absolutely.
And I'm guessing you wouldn't trade it for the world.
I would not trade that, because we didn't, like you talked about, we didn't have the opportunity to go to these camps that these kids go to display our talents. Like, that was our opportunity. That's what we got it in at, and it worked out for us.
Well, it certainly did for Thomas. His speed and toughness earned him a scholarship offer from the Georgia Bulldogs. Pretty big feat for a kid from such a small town, right? But the joy didn't last long. No, after the 2000 season, head coach Jim Donnan was fired. The scholarship was in limbo. So Thomas decided to trade his 1G for another. He was on his way to Grambling State to play in Louisiana for Doug Williams. But get this, in the 11th hour, new linebacker coach at Georgia, Brian Van Gorder, stopped by unannounced at Thomas's high school and watched a little basketball practice. And let's just say he was plenty impressed.
After the practice, Coach Van Gorder calls me up. He says, I don't know where I would play you at. He said, but I want to offer you a scholarship to come play for me at Georgia. He's like, the speed, the burst, the athleticism that I just saw, I haven't seen that in any other kid that I've been recruiting. He said, so you have a scholarship offer. If you take it, that's on you, but I want you to come play for me at Georgia. And I didn't even know how to receive that. He was like, I thought you would be more excited. I'm like, I am excited, I am. I said, but I literally thought that, you know, this opportunity was over when that staff got fired. So I ended up getting that scholarship offer from playing basketball. So I love telling this story to kids because there's so many different things that could have happened that could have changed the course of my college football career. I could have missed practice that day. I could have been lazy. I could have been disrespectful. A number of things that were out of character, like nothing that I would ever do, but had I done those things, it could have affected the opportunity for me to get that scholarship to go to the University of Georgia. So it's always good to have integrity, to do things the right way all the time. So the rest was history.
Coming up next, we follow Thomas Davis from his humble beginnings of small-town Georgia to the big stage as a Georgia Bulldog. Welcome back to Portraits and welcome to Athens, Georgia. In 2002, a young Thomas Davis traveled northwest from his hometown of Shellman to enroll at the University of Georgia. But the one thing he had to get used to, the amount of people. There were roughly 30 times as many people on campus compared to his tiny hometown of Shellman. What an eye-opener was it for you when you got to Athens?
It was like a foreign country. You go from being in a town that only has about 1,000 people to being on a campus that had 30,000+ students.
92,746.
The stadium's alive.
There were times where I questioned, you know, do I really belong? Like, because of how I got my scholarship, opposed to Florida and Georgia wanted guys that were in my same signing class. But I made a decision early on that I would lose all doubt.
There's a new kid on the block. Thomas Davis, number 10, the free safety. He is incredible.
And I'm like, yeah, nah, they not gonna work harder than me. And I went from being the last guy they gave a scholarship to that year to being the first guy drafted.
Let me tell you something, Thomas Davis is the biggest hitter in the Southeastern Conference.
No one on the outside can fully determine who you are as a player, what you become as a player, and how you get it done, more so than you as a player. I had coaches that believed in me, I believed in myself, and I went out and I put the work in, and the results took care of themselves.
Thomas Davis comes up to block the field goal.
Thomas Davis, every bit the hitter.
Look at the speed closing, and he runs right through him. He didn't slow down when he got there.
What's crazy about it, I never played linebacker at Georgia in a game. The 2003 season, I was supposed to be the starting linebacker. Practiced for it going into the season. We got ready to play Clemson, and one of our safeties get hurt. And they were like, we need you to go back to safety. The commentators are saying Georgia was going to lose that game because of Clemson's high-powered receivers, and Georgia had to move a linebacker to safety the night before the game. Because I felt disrespected, I felt slighted.
The Dogs said nothing doing this time. They scored with Thomas Davis.
Thomas Davis got him right as he let go of this throw.
The quarterback shaken up. Fumble! Cut in the air. The Dogs have got it.
Man, we went out and we beat the brakes off Clemson.
Down the middle. Gonna go Gibson. Got him open for a touchdown. Touchdown! Georgia scores.
The score was 30-0 in Death Valley. And I played safety my entire time at Georgia from that moment on.
Picked off by Thomas Davis. And this one's going to go to the Bulldogs of Georgia.
Wow. If you noticed, I was bowing up and looked like I wanted to hit someone during that segment with TD. It's because it's a big rivalry here. Florida, Georgia, every single year, baby. And a big reason this border rivalry is so different has a lot to do with where it's played. You see, the Gators and the Dogs started playing each other annually since 1926. After some home and away games for each school, the game was moved to Jacksonville, Duval, Florida in 1933. And since then, the venue has rarely changed. And in the 1950s, that's when the game became known as the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Which I was always a little bit confused with because it's more like a beer bash tailgate type of thing. I think cocktails, I think of Mumsy, another cocktail. Florida, Georgia is nothing but a brawl inside that stadium and out. Well, you know, we got to talk about that Florida-Georgia rivalry here.
Yeah, let's do it.
When that rivalry means something, it's a blast.
Oh, it is. And, you know, I get questioned all the time, do you think that they should switch the venue? And I'm like, no, because that what make this rivalry what they make it. You go into the stadium and it's split in half. You got Georgia on one side, you got Florida on one side. Notice I said Georgia first and then Florida because that's the way the rivalry goes. I just think that that's a great atmosphere for college football.
And the Georgia Bulldogs' first win since '97.
I'm guessing it means the world to you that you were able to get out of there with at least a win. I mean, had you gone through school and never beaten the Gators, that wouldn't have sat well with you, would it?
It wouldn't have sat well with me at all. And I just know that this last group of Florida players feel the same way as I felt. You know, they haven't won their game in a long time, and they probably won't win it in a long time. Yeah, I said it.
Oh, the stories we could tell, huh? Oh. Time to animate for you guys, because in 1995, one of my favorite head ball coach stories from the Florida-Georgia game. When you hang half 100 on those Georgia Bulldogs, that's a pretty special day. And we all know how Steve Spurrier, the head ball coach, he didn't like Georgia very much. Well, the Georgia fans didn't like him very much either. One in particular. After celebrating this victory, coach is walking back into the locker room, and a Georgia fan decided to throw his 4 quarters worth of dip spit right at the head ball coach. A big old cup came sailing right at him, but in stops Doc Lucky, his head of security. Doc Lucky dove in front of the head ball coach, and Coach Spurrier remained dry and dip spit free. As for Doc, well, not so lucky, huh? Yeah, Gators were pretty lucky during the run when Steve Spurrier was the head coach. Me and my guys, we won 4 straight against the Georgia Bulldogs. But as of late, well, it's been more on the Bulldog side, hasn't it? Hey, welcome back to the show right here in the shadow of Uptown Charlotte. This is where they put in work. Guys like TD, Luke Kuechly, all their Panther teammates. And yeah, they're working hard over on that offensive side of the ball. But when your head man was the defensive guy himself, Ron Rivera, yeah, you had to work a little extra hard.
Hey, pat the pride on 3. 1, 2, 3.
This game is 90% mental. The more you know going into the game, the more plays you're gonna make, the faster you're gonna be able to play, and the better you're gonna be able to be as a linebacker for the guys that are around you. And man, the work that we put in practice is the biggest thing that goes unnoticed, because every single day we competed against each other. We worked so hard in practice that the games became about us. We wasn't worried about who we were going against. We knew what they were gonna do. It was really about who was gonna make the biggest play, who was gonna make the most tackles, who was gonna do what it took to get the ball back or to get the whole team excited or motivated. So that's kind of how we played the game.
Okay, I want to take a one step back because I could spend so much time on just safety to linebacker. And I didn't realize that you never played linebacker in a game at Georgia. So for you to step into the NFL, first round draft pick, here you come, and now you're gonna play linebacker, expected to be a top tier linebacker. Who is that coach? Was it Ron Rivera who really taught you how to play the position and be great at it?
So my first probably 5 or 6 years in the NFL, I played for Coach Fox. All of the guys loved playing for Coach Fox. He was a great motivator. He got the best out of his players. And I was a safety when I first came into the league. Having versatility, they couldn't really figure out where they wanted to play me at. We settled in on linebacker my second year in the league, and it was a learning curve. It was a lot of things that I had to learn, and the biggest one was being so close to the line of scrimmage, being able to take on men that are 100 pounds more than me, getting off the block and going and still being able to make a tackle on guys that are the same size and sometimes bigger than me at the running back position. But as the years went on, you know, I had guys like Dan Morgan, Will Witherspoon was here for a year or two with me, and then Chris Draft came into the fold. Those guys really helped me out tremendously. But when John Beeson got here, that's when it helped me go to the next level, because I had a guy that came in as a young rookie that understood how to play the linebacker position. And we pushed each other every single day. And then as the years went on, when Coach Rivera came in, that was the same year we drafted Luke Kuechly. So now you got me, Luke Kuechly, John Beeson, James Anderson. We had a really, really solid linebacker core. And then as the years went on, what me and Luke were able to become as a tandem, man, it was special.
The year was 2012, and it was the beginning of a beautiful friendship between Thomas and Luke Kuechly, a linebacker out of Boston College. This dynamic duo became the best pair of tacklers I'd seen since Joe Montana.
Joe Montana was a quarterback, you idiot.
I said Joe Montana. That was a scene from The Waterboy. I couldn't resist. But it was tackling fuel from these two guys that helped to lead the Panthers to a 2015 NFC Championship. Yep, who would know 58 better than 59?
Hey, combo.
His ability to cover, I think, really made him special. He could check guys, he was fast, he had a really good feel for it, his acceleration was good, his footwork was good. One thing that he brought that was different than a lot of guys was how physical he was.
There you go, Mayo!
But once you got on the field, you understood that what Thomas talked about is what he was. And from day one, Thomas, hey, whatever you need, I got you. I'm gonna show you whatever you want, super helpful. I was playing the same position that he played when I first got to Carolina. Essentially, he was grooming me to take his job. And obviously it worked out. I moved to inside, Thomas eventually played Will. I just think that we were both so competitive and both loved the game and both wanted to win that we really fed off of each other. We had a really good ability to communicate non-verbally with how we saw things, what we looked at. I think we just had so much fun playing the game that it was an easy match.
And it sounds like not just what we saw out on the field, that special tandem, but you guys put in the work. Talk about learning off of the field and studying with people like that.
But when Luke Kuechly came in, his dedication to understanding what the offense was gonna be doing, what they were talking about, how they made adjustments based on what they knew, you knew, like it was another level watching him operate. And whenever you can take the film room and translate it to the game, and you can make a play based off of what you just learned and watched throughout the week, man, it's the best. Yeah. It is the best feeling.
And the whole concept of meet me at the ball, you know, when you're meeting your teammates at the ball, when you're swarming the ball, it's fun. When you've got a brother like that you're swarming with, man, that gives me goosebumps, man.
It's special, man. It's special. And it's hard to really explain. And it's not one of those things you can just show up on Sunday and do. You got to do it every single day. It has become second nature for you, and that's what it became for us.
For 14 years, Thomas Davis called Bank of America Stadium home. Well, technically, 14 years and 1 day, so he could retire as a Carolina Panther. Not bad, huh? Nice little kitty cat out front as well. What's that, girl? Oh, I know, he was a great linebacker. We'll be right back. Yep, welcome back to Portraits. I'm a fan of footwear. I wouldn't go so far as to call myself a sneakerhead, but I do like shoes, especially cool ones. Look at those. Oh, I got some pimple boots, and Billy Napier gave me these after I did a commissioned painting. Some De La Souls right there. You know, these are my painting shoes. I wear these a lot. You gotta love the Turdunkins. Alfonso Mestre, my favorite Venezuelan swimmer. And you all remember the episode with Roy Williams, right? I won these. Let's put something on the line here, though.
Okay, all right.
I got $60.
You got it.
If I beat you, though, you have to tell those guys in the equipment room that they have to give me a nice pair of Jordans. Closest to the hole.
Closest to the hole. Yeah, look at that. That's going to be a pretty good putt. That's going to be a pretty good putt.
Look at close.
I think you may have won that one.
Yeah, old Roy paid up. Thank you, Coach. But when it comes to shoe collections, being a sneakerhead, ain't nobody sneakier than Thomas Davis. No, sir. You see, his time in Charlotte, he became close with MJ. Mike with Jordan to the layperson. Jordan, look at that! And he's amassed basically one of the craziest, most limited Jordan collections you will ever see. And I'm not kidding. Check this out. Hey, Thomas, did you want me to take my shoes off, or?
Oh, no, you're good.
Oh, okay,
you're good.
Okay,
you're good
okay.
up here.
Well, I don't know that they're worthy to come in this room. Man, look at this shoe collection. And some of your favorites are right here.
These are some of the special ones, some of the ones that absolutely mean a lot to me because I'm the only one with these.
These and many others are from MJ?
Absolutely. So when you look in shoes, a lot of times when you're able to tell how special they are, they're gonna have promo sample on the inside. They're pretty limited and pretty rare.
Is there a moment here recently where you kind of had to talk yourself into just finally putting on a pair that you had been saving?
So I actually got sent 3 or 4 pair of Jordan 11 lows that are one of ones. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go ahead and wear these because nobody else is gonna have them.
Do you have a horror story where you were out and it started raining and you had your shoes on?
You know what, I don't really have a horror story like that, but I did just recently open my shoebox that I have over here with my exclusive Ben collection. And to my surprise, something has happened to a pair of my Ben Jordans. And if you are a sneakerhead, you know how rare these things are. You know how limited they are. And to walk in and see them like this, I'm devastated, but I'm gonna get them cleaned. I'm gonna make sure that happens.
Do you have an all-time favorite model?
I'm a huge fan of the 11s, but as a young kid, the Bordeaux 7s were always my favorite. When they came out with the Bordeaux, I was like just enamored, but I could never get them as a young kid. And I think that's where the infatuation with shoes came in. I'm like, dang, now that I can get them, I'm gonna make sure I have all of them. So that's kind of what I did. You know what? Let me take you guys in the other shoe room.
There's another shoe room.
So these are, you know, some of the 11s that I have.
Nice.
These are the off-white ones, and I have every pair of those that I've never worn.
Hey, and look what I found here, guys.
Oh, of course.
What?
You know they gotta be in
Luke. Look at that, his Boston College jersey.
I have a very extensive jersey collection. I mean, some of my favorite players I played against. Obviously, you gotta have Tom in there.
Wow.
Giving this one from Peyton. Didn't play against this guy, but gotta have my Georgia guy in there. Fran was definitely proud of me representing the number 10 while I was at Georgia. This is the guy that I almost went and played for in college at Grambling. Every time I used to see Doug, he would tell me, look, I almost had you. I'm like, yep, I was coming. You almost had me down at Grambling. I was a huge Derrick Brooks fan growing up, man, and Coach Rick actually had a chance to coach both of us in college, and he was like, man, you're literally like the next Derrick Brooks. That was a guy that I looked up to, tried to model my game after a little bit. I got literally probably 6 other closets of shoes. Wow. Shoes everywhere.
Oh, I love it. And here, he's got all these shoes, but he's barefoot right now.
That's how it is.
We've seen you on the field a couple times with the camera. Do you like the photography end of it?
I do. I absolutely love the photography component of it. And that kind of got started from me just being a dad. My son was playing football, so I wanted to capture all of those moments and be able to have those pictures for him when he got older. And the Panthers, they saw, you know, me have all this equipment, and they asked me if I wanted to take, you know, an opportunity to come shoot a game. It was fun to really just be behind the lens and get to learn the different nuances of how you gotta shoot. You gotta anticipate certain things. And it was very beneficial for me as a player knowing different formations, knowing what to expect. I was ahead of the game a little bit when certain things were about to happen. And I'm like, damn, this worked for me.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Look at TD right here. Still on the football field and still putting in work. Oh, wow. These are some pretty cool shots right here from Thomas Davis. Yeah, as a former athlete, it's kind of neat to go back to that field that you spent so much time on and see it through a different lens. It's kind of like my art a little bit. All kinds of neat stuff. You kind of see it differently. Well, maybe it's because I took a lot of hits to the head, though. Either way. I'm James Space, huh? I'm sorry, I thought I heard somebody calling me. I'm James Space, huh? We'll be right back with more portraits, huh?
Three, 2.
I'm just gonna keep going. Welcome back to Portraits. You know, you can tell a lot about a person by the way they respond to adversity. Thomas Davis had his fair share of tough times early in his NFL career, but no, he wasn't gonna let injuries stop him. He went from almost being out of the NFL to becoming one of the best linebackers in the league.
I always thought when I was in college that I was invincible because, you know, I just never really got injured. We all get hurt, but I never got injured. It wasn't until my second year in the league where I tore my labrum. That was the first surgery that I had on my left shoulder, and then the injury started to mount. Tore my ACL in my right knee in 2009. Rehab it, tear it again in 2010. Rehab it, tear it again for the third time in 2011, and now in my head, my career is done. Because if a guy can't stay healthy, then they get rid of you. That's how it goes. But I was working with an owner, Mr. Richardson, that fully believed in me. And he didn't even listen to the doctors when they told him that it was time to turn the page. He told me, if I was willing to put myself through it, he was gonna give me that opportunity. That's all you needed to hear as a player, that somebody believes in you, in particular the owner of this franchise, and he wanted to give you an opportunity. I mean, they still drafted Luke that year, so I kind of felt a little slighted, but I never really looked at it as that was them trying to get rid of me. That was them protecting themselves in case it didn't work out. But I was willing to go out, put this work in to show that I was gonna come back, and I was gonna come back stronger. I went from tearing my ACL 3 years in a row to making the Pro Bowl 3 years in a row after that. So it really speaks to the amount of work that you can put in when you have somebody that sits and tells you wholeheartedly that they believe in you.
Mr. Richardson loves you for that. Your coaching staff, your teammates respect you and love you for that. And what these Carolina fans really, when it comes to injuries, what they really love to talk about is playing in that Super Bowl with a broken arm. 2015, just a magical year. You're finally healthy, and NFC Championship game. Take us back to that and the whirlwind that was.
Man, listen, I remember that literally like it just happened. Daniel Fields, tight end, catches a pass, and literally me and Luke are converging in on him at the same time. The next thing he does is jump knee first. So I have to make a split-second reaction to what he's doing, and I literally just threw my forearm right into his knee that he's kicking up. Broke my ulnar bone in my forearm. Like when the trainers came out to me, they were like, "What do you think?" I said, "It's broken." Like, I know it's broken. I can feel it. It's broken. So we go in, we get the x-rays done, and it was like, well, it definitely is broken, but you broke it in a spot to where we could do surgery in the morning and you could still have a chance to play in the Super Bowl. I'm like, what? It was like, it's gonna come down to a pain tolerance thing on whether or not you could play in the whole game and you can get there, but you have a chance. That's it. I'm playing there. That was like year 11, I think, and I made it to the NFC Championship game my rookie year and had never gotten that close until now. And for me to have that opportunity and potentially have it taken away, there was nothing short of that was gonna stop me from playing in that game.
Ideally, how much longer would you have needed to wait before you didn't feel any pain, before you didn't have to wear the big hand cannon?
Man, I'm not even sure how long it would have took to not feel any pain after that, but that first week after the surgery, I was concerned because I couldn't even make a fist. And then as the days went on, like I started to regain that. I started to be able to punch bags. And by the time we flew to San Jose and was practicing, I started to pick up practice days, started to get back in tune to it. And I'm like, you know what? This is gonna happen. And I literally played every down in the Super Bowl. And it's just a true testament of how much the game really means to you and having an opportunity to be on that level, in that space, in that time with your brothers.
Wow. We've spent so much time talking to you about everything that went into it. When you look back at your football career, what are a few things that really stand out and make you feel really blessed to have played this game?
The first thing that I really point to is after my sophomore year, I won the Vince Dooley MVP award. To be the recipient of that award, I think that was one of the things that really gave me the encouragement to continue to believe in myself, to continue to work. And that's why after that next year, I was able to have another great year, and I made the transition into being drafted 14th overall into that draft. So, just winning that MVP award, being drafted in the first round, being able to become the Walter Payton Man of the Year for the NFL in 2014. I think those are some of the things that I look back on my career that has really made this thing special. And the final thing that I would really point to is being the first player to ever come back from tearing my ACL 3 consecutive years. Man, like, to me, those are the special things that has really defined me as a player.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of different ways to describe Thomas Davis, the football player. The best word to describe him is heart. And when we come back on Portraits, we're going to talk about how this heart
keeps on beating once Thomas Davis steps off of the football field. Stay right there. Yeah, I've enjoyed getting to know TD. He's an interesting guy. Built that career through hard work and, well, self-confidence. You got to believe in yourself. That's one thing that shows when you talk to TD. He's a giving guy. I mean, just look at all the headaches that he gives to opponents.
Ouch. That was a good hit.
When his career's over playing football and the giving doesn't stop when he steps off of that football field. No. What's really special about Thomas Davis is the giving that he does in the community. All the success that you've had, and you're giving back here, you're giving back to Shellman. Talk about how rewarding that is for you.
Man, it's very rewarding. I'm in a position where I can make a difference and I can help out. It wouldn't be right if I'm in this city having that ability to do that and I did not do it. So started doing it here in Charlotte. Then we branched out into Georgia, where I was from, and then into South Carolina, where my wife was from. I have a leadership academy where I have 40 to 50 students come through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We had 9 kids that were college eligible that wanted to receive a scholarship. So we decided that we were gonna give 9 $5,000 scholarships. When you become a part of first generation college students in households, man, that's when you know without a doubt you're doing something good.
Is there something tangible when you go back home that you were a big part of?
The playground in my hometown. Never had a playground in Shellman, Georgia. And we went down there and we changed it. This town, even in 2023, is still divided. Like, you have black people that live on one side, white people that live on one side, and there was no intermingling, and it had never happened before. Well, in 2014, when I put the playground down there, that was the first time that we got to witness that them come together and play at the same place.
Everybody knows about your career with the Panthers, but it wasn't where you were going to end up, and then you had a chance to sign with the Panthers for a day so you could retire, where I'm guessing everybody around here sure thinks you belong.
Listen, that was a no-brainer. The moment that I stepped foot out of a Panther uniform, that I knew that I was gonna come back. So maybe it would have been 1 year after when I went and played for the Chargers, but after that year, I had an opportunity to go play with Washington for another year, and I knew at that point in being in Washington that it was time. So I made the decision, made the phone call, do what you guys need to do so that I can go and get this done. I was able to get it done with Greg Olsen, you know, one of my brothers. We were able to retire as Panthers together, so that was definitely special moments for both of us.
How much do you miss it?
You know, I honestly get this question a lot, and I don't. If I sat here and I told you that I missed a game, then that would say that I didn't do everything that I could while I was out there. But for me, I gave it every single thing that I had every single day. There was not a single day that I regretted walking off of that field, even on my last day. So if you go out and you do every single thing that you can while you're on that field, then you won't miss a single day being away from it. And that's kind of my approach and how I've looked at the game of football.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss our day of zipping around Charlotte and getting to sit down with Thomas Davis in his great restaurant with all those numbers on the outside. We got to see a little piece of Shellman, Georgia, where TD came from.
Thomas Davis, there you go.
Athens, home of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Thomas Davis, every bit the hitter.
Place that helped shape him even further.
finally, of course, his biggest stage with the Carolina Panthers, where no one would question his toughness. You can't question TD's style and passion for sneakers either. I'm still picking my jaw up off the floor after seeing one rare pair of kicks after another, and oh, there goes another and another. But you know, maybe the coolest thing about Thomas, he and his family know how to give back. The charity work that they do there in Charlotte and back in his hometown is truly inspiring, isn't it? I'm inspired to go finish TD's painting right now, and heck, all the others. What are you looking at, Kirby Smart? We're coming to get you this year. Hey, we'll see you next time on Portraits.